Hello. So for the America session of this set of Hangouts, we have a couple of friends from the US today. We have Doug and LJ.
Good morning.
Morning, Matt.
Hey, for the audience here, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Go ahead, Doug.
Oh, okay. Good morning to the YouTube world. My name's Doug Hines. I'm a Remedy developer based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Been using Remedy for about 2 years now, and obviously been on the communities because it's probably one of the greatest tools outside of the actual software that BMC creates that I have at my disposal.
And I'm LJ Longwing, and I've been a Remedy developer for, we'll just say, 16 plus years. A bit more than Doug, but been here for a while.
And both of you were definitely at the BMC Engage event last October in Florida. Can you give us a 20-second recap of what you experienced there?
LJ, do you want to go?
Well, Engage for me last year was a really fun event. It showcased not just the Remedy that I am used to, but it opened up the world to a lot of the other products that BMC offers, which former year rugs that I've attended didn't give me access to. Gives me access to all the wonderful aspects of getting involved with the engineering team, asking questions of people who've actually developed the tools. Really an awesome event.
So
Go ahead.
Okay. Last year was my first event. I'd never been to a rug or to one of the big Engage meetings. So for me, it was a chance to really see how BMC promotes themselves publicly. To be able to be there for the big reveal of Smart IT was great. To be able to sit down with the guys who write the code, as well as to sit down with people who are veterans of the system. LJ said he's been doing this for 16 years. To be able to sit down and pick his brain for a half hour, my brain was already full. So imagine doing that with 4 or 5 other LJs. It was incredible. And if you don't take the time at Engage to go meet people like Matt and meet people like LJ, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need to do that.
And just to make sure of your focus here, both of you are Remedy, AR system for sure, also apps, ITSM apps, also other products like ADDM or something?
My virtual entire history with Remedy is solely based in Remedy. I've never used any products other than Remedy, and we don't even use the ITSM suite. We are a completely custom shop. All but about 1.5 years of my 16 years has been custom. So no out of the box for me.
For me, we use obviously the ARS platform. We do have the ITSM suite. We're working on getting ADDM stood up inside my environment, and after ADDM, we're looking to go Smart IT and My IT. So Remedy over Remedy Force. We don't use Control M or any of those other tools just yet, but give us time, we'll get there.
Excellent, and let's welcome Chris Coffey.
Hey everyone.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning.
So Chris, you're very familiar with LJ already, right? You were in Hangouts together some time ago, I guess.
I don't remember being in a hangout with Chris before.
Yeah, I don't know LJ, I don't think.
Chris, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So I am the Trackit product manager. I think Doug and I went running at Engage one morning, so I think I know Doug from there. But so I've been the Trackit product manager now for probably around 4 or 5 years. Before that, I worked in product development and quality assurance and tech support and all the various aspects of Trackit. So that's pretty much been my role the last 17 plus years now. Working with Trackit in all various types of positions. So
definitely a really engaged friend, Chris, engaged in the crowd here during the BMC doing the BMC Engage event, same word, running with you, Doug, and some friends, and engage on the community. So, well, you all have the same kind of background with high engagement.
Chris, just for perhaps some of the viewers out there who don't necessarily know tools outside of ARS and ITSM, can you just kind of give them I don't know, 10-second update on what Trackit actually is?
Yeah, sure. That's pretty easy. So Trackit, I mean, if they know ARS and they know the remedy system, they're familiar with a help desk or a service desk and how the IT staff uses that. Trackit is essentially a help desk for small business. So if you're 1 or 2, 3 guys in an IT shop managing a couple hundred users and you have a very tight budget, you don't have development expertise and that type of thing, but you're running a help desk in an IT shop and you're tracking your tickets with Outlook or Excel or a homegrown tool or something like that, Trackit's kind of a help desk in a box, a shrink-wrapped help desk product. So you can download it, install it, set it up, and be off and running in 30 minutes to an hour, and it does most things that a small company would need for help desk and asset management. So,
excellent. Thanks for that.
Yeah, sure.
So, and by the way, Chris, just making sure you proposed a couple of customers or partners. I'm not sure for this hangout. You can invite them directly.
Okay.
In this hangout.
Okay.
At the top, invite users. It would be easier than me trying to find them.
Okay.
So, what should we begin with? Like, let's go with LJ and your feedback about interactions. How do you, the interactions you have, do you mostly help others? I'm sure you do. Do you also request for help and share with others?
My interaction with communities is primarily assisting other people based. I do periodically come to the community for various questions. Having been with the product for 16 years and not using any of the ITSM portions of it, a vast majority of the communities and its customer base is focusing on ITSM. So I can't help with a lot of that stuff, and I don't ask any questions in that realm either. But I would have to say that a vast majority of my interaction there is based in the core system. People asking questions of, I can't get my remedy to start, or recent questions along the lines of, I can't import this form, and suggesting troubleshooting techniques to try to help people out. I also developed some tools using the Java API to help the community out as well. I periodically see a question come across, and I look at it and I'm like, well, I could develop a tool that allows me to solve that problem. So take a couple of days, put a tool together, and post it to the community for them to be able to benefit from that expertise.
So that's cool. You help in a reactive fashion when people share their issues, and you help in a proactive fashion by proposing utilities, tools that you created.
I certainly try.
Excellent. Excellent. And let's welcome, we'll go back to each of the stories. Let's welcome Greg here.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Hopefully I am coming in loud and clear.
Yeah. You sure are. So you're in California this morning?
Yes, at the office. You get the nice background to our office, the mall. So getting busy here.
Excellent. So, Greg, go ahead and introduce you and what you do on the community and how you interact with everybody.
So I work within the service support area. I work, main focus is service request management, and I also run the Connect with Remedy programs, our monthly webinar series, as well as co-run the Amigo program for upgrades, as well as all of our new product introduction and things. I co-run with the other leads within support. And
Excellent.
been here
So,
10 years with
go ahead.
BMC. I said I've
10
just
years?
been here about 10 years.
Good job.
Yeah.
So, LJ, Doug, have you already found resources posted by Greg or even interacted with him?
I haven't had a chance to meet Greg.
Yeah, never talked to him before, but I'm sure I've read stuff that he's posted.
I guess you don't remember Engage. We had a nice breakfast several mornings together.
So, was it a late drink that nobody remembers, or really a breakfast?
I think it was an
Or
early
late
breakfast.
breakfast.
Could go both ways, yeah.
Greg, your face is a little bit shadowed, so I'm having trouble seeing the details. But
Better?
oh, there we go. Yes.
So, Greg, you specialize mostly in which products?
Service request management is the main focus within the ITSM suite, but here in support we are pulled into all the other component areas, and a lot of the leads will work together across the team. So we'll do a lot of swarming, collaboration. So even though we have a primary focus, we work with all the other leads and TSAs to kind of collaborate to try to shorten the support cycle of an issue. And just, like I said, on some of the new product introductions, as we come out with new products, we'll, be exposed to it and try to bring that to the teams to bring them up to speed prior to release of the product.
Okay, cool. So let's go back with Chris here. So Chris, you've been you joined BMC a couple of years ago now with the Numera acquisition, and you've been a great user from day one of the community. Can you summarize your journey?
What's that?
Can you summarize your journey?
Since becoming part of BMC?
Yeah.
So we were acquired in February 2012, I believe. Numera Software was the company before that. We made Trackit for the small business and Footprints for the medium to enterprise business. You'll notice, if you're familiar with Footprints, they just released a version 12 recently. They're still targeting the medium to enterprise level business. So when Numera was acquired, one of the things our customers had asked us about a lot when we were at Numera and even prior was a user forum or a user community, that type of thing. Several had sprung up around the internet that were user created and user supported, but nothing that was corporate. And when we became part of BMC, I was just digging around one day out on the website looking for things that were interesting as far as the new company went, and found this community, and somehow, I don't know if I just blindly emailed Matt or somebody, I started emailing people that might be involved with the community and asked them if we could make a Trackit community. And we went ahead and started it up, and it just took off. I mean, we posted on some of the other user communities around the web that we had started our own company-sponsored community. And, if you build it, they will come, right? So they did. So that's pretty much how it started.
And thanks for your support these past years. So you wanted to invite some customers and partners. So the way I do it, I go on the video here with my mouse, and at the top I see a couple of controls. The first control is invite people. And if the people you want to invite are in your circle, you can easily invite them. Okay. Can you see this control?
Yeah, I don't see that button on my video. I don't see that anywhere.
Okay, so let's
I only have mute and camera and volume and settings and Hangout.
Okay, that's your why. Let's fix that. So who would you like to see in this call? So I guess I invited.
So we had Brad McClave. He was one of our community users of the month or something several months ago.
Yeah, I invited him.
Okay. And I think
Roger Bain, or not?
No, that doesn't sound familiar.
Okay.
I'd have to look back at the other thread to find their names.
Okay, let's do that in the meantime, so that we
Yeah.
leverage your people from your community.
Yeah, I'll go find them.
Okay, thanks for that. So Doug, you started engaging in the BMC ecosystem in the community quite recently. What are the top 2 things you saw while interacting there?
Well, as a new Remedy developer, I needed a resource of people that was not a contractor and that were not, how you put it, paid to ask questions. So I needed a social aspect, and what better place than the BMC communities to come in and be able to ask questions. Being able to just ask almost anything and have people who've been in my position, who've been there, who started out going, I don't know what ARS even means, being able to answer my questions, and then magically meeting up with LJ, you're going to get a lot of praise from me, but just don't get your ego too big, okay? We need to be able to still see you on camera.
I've learned how to deflate it over the years.
If you can, I'm pretty sure your wife will. But yeah, you need that bed of people who are veterans to be able to ask questions to. Sometimes it's not a quick and easy fix. Oh, just change your config file of this. Sometimes it's going to be 20 or 30 reposts of back and forth between you and a whole group of people. And the nice thing is it doesn't disappear once you're done doing that discussion. It stays up there so other people can help you out. I do feel bad that I'm not at some of these other veterans, Greg and LJ's level, to be able to go in and help people who've helped me. But I'm hoping that as I get better at this, I'll be able to start bringing out my own versions of best practice, my own trials and tribulations, and do this, don't do that. You'll run into people who that's what they do day in and day out, is they post those best practices, and I'm hoping to get to that level someday.
The best advice I can give you, Doug, is I was sitting at this job that I'm at right now, in fact, and I never used to post to the ARS list. Communities didn't exist at the time, and I'd see somebody post something, a question, and I would look at it and go, well, I think I know how to solve that. But I was too timid, too shy to say, yes, here's the solution. And it would go a couple days without answer, and nobody was answering anything. So I just decided to start posting I think this is the way it works. And if you look at some of my early posts, almost every single one was qualified. I'm not an expert, but this is what I think the answer is. And what I found over time is that reading everything that's posted, reading everything that comes across, not only keeps me engaged in potential problems that I could come across with solutions to those problems before I encounter them, but the interaction of posting back and saying, here's what I think the answer is, I get feedback from the people that I'm interacting with that, yes, in fact, the solution that you proposed did work for me. So it helped me gain confidence in my knowledge that I was working with, and just continuing the interaction. It's a positive feedback loop that makes you better every time you work.
I like that. I really welcome those suggestions, and maybe I'll start putting some of those into play.
Hey, LJ, I think that feedback is great, because even if it isn't, the perfect answer, any of us may have a perfect answer. It may just be good enough to stem that conversation and, through collaboration, bring the final solution together. But like you said, is if somebody doesn't post or maybe just put a comment, it's just stuck in your brain, or never sees the day of light. So that I think is a great comment.
Yeah, and as Doug said, with the online communities as well as ARS list, it's posted out there and anyone can search it, and they can gain from that knowledge 5 years from now, because you tend to think that what you're doing right now is only important to you at the moment, but if you're experiencing this problem, 5 years from now, somebody else could be experiencing the exact same problem and learn from your mistakes, learn from your successes. So,
That's totally true. I won't lie. There are sometimes I find posts from 2009, and I'm just like, yep, I need this. Save, print.
And actually, if you listen to the APAC recording, that is with these other Hangouts recordings, you will hear Abhishek Rai is in the CLM product group, and he began to engage on BMC Communities because he was in the R&D engineering group for CLM, and he wanted to do something pretty complex with their system. And he searched, perhaps on Google, and he found a resource posted like 5 years ago. 5 years ago, and that helped him achieve his success. So that's how it began. And I guess I see Brad joining.
Good morning. I've actually been watching for quite a while. It just took me some time to actually get joined in. My apologies.
Good to hear you. So, hey, Brad, go ahead and introduce yourself and say what you think about Chris. It is time to say it. You know, it's a public hangout, stream live. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Brad McClave. I work for Sunmark Federal Credit Union. I've been part of the community for as long as I can remember. I think for as long as it's been in existence. Got to meet some great people on there, including Chris. I've actually got to meet him once before out in a meetup we had in Boston. And the community has actually been a great resource for not only just getting questions answered, but we've gotten a lot of really good ideas on how best to use Trackit. I'm also a member of the community for Footprints, what used to be AssetCore, which is now client management. And the same thing, we've gotten a lot of great support and a lot of good ideas on how to use the product.
Excellent. Didn't know you were also using AssetCore. And you pointed to something that is actually something I really love, face-to-facing meetups. Like, you know, online interaction is good. Like right now, all of us are anywhere in the world. Online is good, but face-to-facing is cool. So you guys met in Boston recently?
Well, it was probably over a year ago. Maybe probably about a year and a half ago, I think. But we had Numara used to do this a lot, and we had some of them still going on when we became part of BMC. But what we would do is we would create local user group meetings, and the account manager for that region would sponsor it, and the account manager for that region would invite their clients from that area, and so it was a mixture of Footprints and Trackit clients at that particular one. And they asked me to fly up and speak about Trackit and meet with some of the Trackit customers, so I did that. We did one in DC a couple months after that, and so yeah, it's cool to get out there and actually sit down and talk with people that use the product. So very cool.
So, Brad, are you based in Boston?
No, I'm actually in the Albany, New York area.
Oh, okay. So, broad question for everybody. If there were local user groups meetups, would you see value in indeed attending them, in indeed presenting them, in indeed owning these meetups? So 3 options: attending, presenting, owning, orchestrating.
Can I go ahead and jump on this one, Matt?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, so I would say most definitely. I used to be a Citrix admin, and we had regular Citrix user group meetups in my local area. It was great. We had both an architect as well as, of course, the salesperson there at every one of our user group meetings. They were talking about new products. They sometimes were even able to develop stuff, or not develop, but show us things that they weren't necessarily allowed to broadcast over the internet. And that's a great way to be able to introduce, small groups to things and get a bed of beta testers and stuff for you guys. But for the users, the people, it's nice to have that face-to-face of saying, are you dealing with this, or have you done that? Again, it's like a physical version of the communities. And not only that, but just being able to talk to other people on a certain level that doesn't require a screen and keyboard.
Yeah.
So if there are any Upper Midwest Remedy users that want to start a user group, let me know.
So there are definitely many initiatives going on in that area, and we're trying to productize this a little bit more. You may not have seen it, but in India, in Pune, India, that was exactly 1 week ago, they made that happen. A partner said, okay, I'm going to host a meetup. Who wants to join? Made a blog post in the India BMC user group, and then people interacted all over the place. They collaborated on the agenda, and they made that happen. So we had people from Viam Labs, Tata, I can't remember the names, many famous companies over there in India, and they want to start the same thing in Bangalore. So that's, if there's a will, there's a solution. So do you happen to be familiar with other users near you in your geo? Let's begin with Brad. Brad?
Yes.
Do you happen to be familiar with other users in your geo in New York?
I'm a member of one of the groups in the community for the greater Boston area. I got to meet quite a few of them when we were at the Boston meetup, but locally I am not aware of anybody else who actually uses the product.
So I am not currently live familiar with Asset Core or Trackit users in this area, but there are sure a lot of BMC users at the whole. So yeah, let's work on that. Let's design that for the future. So we had feedback also from Doug. LJ.
There is a local Remedy user group for the Rocky Mountain area in the Denver, Colorado area, and they haven't had a meeting in probably a year and a half, though. It was historically coordinated by a partner, RapTech. There's the Denver metro area is a huge Remedy market. I work out of Colorado Springs, which is just about an hour down the road. And any local user groups that they have, I certainly try to attend those.
Yeah, definitely valuable. Greg, on your side, do you have local user group meetups in the Bay Area?
There are different pockets of local user group meetings. A lot of bigger customers, so within their own companies, they'll have internal user group meetings between the different departments and areas. A lot of big gas companies and utility companies and hospitals around that do have those. Occasionally, we have been invited to participate and hoping to have more interaction. This may be actually a good way to do it as well, just to hang out to, avoid all the travel logistics to get something going.
Yeah, so we'll do. We'll help a lot of things. Connecting you. That's all about connecting users, right? On communities, finding out the people who could be interested. Then, yeah, making choices on location, agenda, whatever. And it can, by the way, it can be with or without BMC. It's definitely great to have customers sharing with each other, not even having BMC, or we can help out, whatever. I know that Doug Mueller actually flies pretty often to meet some informal user groups. So, user group is definitely a key item I want to work on this coming year. Hey, what would you love to see on the communities that you cannot see right now? Let's begin with Brad again on the left side here.
Something that I don't currently see in the communities?
Yeah.
That's a good question. It isn't something I've actually thought of. The community is actually, like I said before, it's been a really good resource, so I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would make it even better. Maybe aside from the fact of maybe somehow doing links for the Google Plus link meetups where people can just like meet up right off the bat, kind of like on a whim, directly from the community.
I love that. I love that. So one first thing that we can all do is to edit our own communities profile and add pointers. Some of them are pointers to their LinkedIn profile, pointers to their Twitter name. You can give a pointer to your Google profile, and people can find you, circle you, and hang out with you, or include you in such hangouts. This one is public, but it can be private hangouts with customers and partners and BMC employees who may want to interact via webcam like that. That's a quick and easy way. Were you thinking about something even more productized? Brad?
As far as more productized, you said?
Yeah, leveraging Google Plus.
Yes, definitely. Because I notice you have specific fields within your profile for Twitter handles and that kind of thing, but there's nothing specific for Google Plus or anything else that you can use as a community meetup.
So you can use both the URL field if you want the URL, and that's what I've done, by the way. My URL field is my Google profile, because on my Google profile it gives pointers to everything: Twitter, LinkedIn, yeah, many profiles. So that's what I do. So people who want to circle with me can do it because I just give the resource to them. So URL field, or even the biography field. I know some people do that. I actually share my Skype details in my bio field. So the more we give contact details, I guess, to others, the better we can help that. Okay, let's speak a little bit, Chris and team. Would you like to know more things about Track It inside information?
Would I like to hear more about
No. It's a question for Brad. Brad, would you like to know more? Would you like to know more about Track It? Do you have enough stuff from the R&D team?
It's kind of a complex question because I'm not only a member of just the public community, I'm also part of the advisory board, which kind of gets some. But on the community, they also have you can actually submit ideas, and they've actually done a really good job of making sure that those ideas are marked as being either under consideration or active or already offered. So I think that in itself right there is actually a really good way of keeping people up to date as what the development is going under, what's being done for development for the product.
Excellent, so you give feedback on the ideation capabilities, and obviously the Track It team is doing great conversation and execution on these ideas. So congrats, Chris and team. And you also talked about the advisory board. Can you share a little bit more? We see you, Chris. So Brad, can you share a little bit more about what happens in those advisory boards? Is that online conversation only? Do you also meet from time to time on WebEx or Hangout or whatever technology? Or meet face-to-face?
On those, it's usually online conversations. Occasionally, when we're getting near a release, we'll do like a hangout like this and talk about some things. But we could leverage it more than we do, actually, to be completely honest.
Learning from you, how do you orchestrate the advisory board's interaction and the beta program interaction? Because you also have that, right?
Yeah, the beta program we've run probably 4 or 5 betas using the community so far, and we were using that to do all of our community organization, I think even before they started doing it formally with BMC, because we did it because we didn't have any other way to get groups of customers together to talk like that. I mean, we have like over 8,000 active customers or something like that, so it's trying to find somewhere where we can get people together and disseminate information easily and make sure everyone's on the same page for a beta was kind of difficult. So we formed this community beta group, and like I said, we've probably done 4 or 5 betas with it now already, and it's very nice. I mean, once they fill out the NDA and they request access to that beta, we cross-reference that with May Backend's team to make sure that they're all good, and then we let them in, and then we post links to the builds, release notes, problems that are in the current build, things to look at specifically, things to watch out for, all of that kind of stuff. The advisory board is much more forward-looking. So the advisory board, we would ask things like, what do you think of this screen that's in the product now? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Would you rather see it set up a different way? Sometimes we'll give them what we're thinking of doing. We'll say, hey, we're thinking of making it look like this. What do you think? Sometimes we'll just say, what do you think of this? Because we're trying to get honest feedback for that. So it's not the same as visiting a customer and seeing how they actually use it, but it is valuable in getting feedback about people's thoughts on things. So
that's all good. Let's switch from good stuff to bad stuff. Let's rant a little bit. Before we rant, let's talk with Michelle Marquez joining today. Can you hear us fine?
Yes, I can only be on briefly because I have other things in the office that I'm supposed to be getting to, and B, I'm on my phone because I wasn't in Google Online on the computer.
And that's okay. If you're okay with that, we're just happy to have you. You may want to introduce you and what you do, what you've done these past years on the community.
Sure. So I manage documentation for service support, meaning the Remedy line and some of the other ITSM products, together with a co-manager in India. And I've also worked with a small team to set up the product documentation community that some of you might have been participating in.
That's all good, and thanks for everything you've done here for now. We've talked about many good things, including beta programs and advisory boards that help the right connection between R&D and the market as a whole. LJ, let's talk about things to fix. Let's talk about things that not about the product, product ABC from BMC, but things to fix on BMC committees. What frustrates you really big right now? Like it's not a showstopper. You're still around and very engaged, but things that we need to fix.
For communities, I'm actually really satisfied with it of late. There's the interaction is good. We've previously discussed the confusion between the BMC Remedy community and the AR system server community. It'd be really nice if those were collapsed into one community, because having them in different places, I think, just confuses the user base. But overall, I follow both spaces, so that doesn't really affect me a whole lot. And I'd say communities is running pretty smooth at the moment. Not a whole lot of problems.
Cool. Okay. Who wants to talk about problems? No, let's not talk about the problems, but improvements and how can make your. Oh, Doug, we cannot hear you. I'm sorry if you want to. We cannot hear you now.
Sure. As soon as I want to start complaining, that's when you can't hear me.
Oh, we just
heard
me.
Sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
No, I said, Doug, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Good.
I'm sure I can mute him. Let me try.
You can try. It'll never succeed. I'll take this.
So tell me.
For me, I'm a highly mobile person. I'm not always at my desk, and I hate carrying a laptop. I carry a very large cell phone. Some people call it a phablet, purposely, because I don't want to be locked down to my laptop.
Yeah.
the mobile communities needs a little work. I have this beautiful, fully functioned community. I can do all these great things on my laptop. However, that does not transfer well to my mobile device. So being able to take that user experience from my desktop laptop to my mobile device, and what I'm specifically talking about is better ways of following specific articles that I'm tracking, being able to get to just finding people sometimes is difficult through my mobile device.
So just to make sure, you have an Android device here?
I do.
What is it?
It is the Note 3.
Oh, okay.
I have similar experiences because I'm also on a Samsung device, but smaller. And what I've noticed in addition is what's in your inbox you'll get notification for, but for things that you're just following, you don't, although that's not a bad thing. But the notifications sometimes just stop, and you need to, I guess, go back into the app to get them restarted again.
Yeah.
Yes, I've noticed that too.
Let's be clear, the Android app has issues, and you cannot configure a lot of things. It's like consuming stuff. It's like using stuff you've set up already on the web view. So that's the Android app, and I obviously used it. I've
noticed the same thing on the. I use an iPhone and I have the iOS version. I've noticed the same strange things with the notifications and stuff. So sometimes I'll get tons of notifications. Sometimes I get none. It just depends on.
Oh, like the orange balloon saying 2, 5, 10 things waiting for you. Notifications.
Well, I get pop-ups. Like the pop-up notifications that scroll down from the top when things happen, and sometimes I'll get 25 of them from Jive all at one time, and then I don't get any for, a week. But
Okay.
I think, like Michelle said, if I go back in, sometimes it seems to kind of reset it.
Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Does your screen look like this? So I guess for a couple of you, like Doug and Michelle, this is the Android app. So the Android app is like pretty limited. Like I can look at my inbox, and the inbox is definitely the way to follow things you really care about. So I care about, and you see things live here. I care about Arun Hopper, because he wanted to interact in this Hangout, but obviously he's not here today, or he may be viewing. I don't know. I care about Urshi. Urshi is a wonderful person. She works at BMC IT and she helps us do things. I care about Vincent Friedweg, so I get inbox notifications directly on my device or web or iOS. And that's where I want to go. Who has a user interface that looks like this? The iOS version here that is supposed to move. The iOS version here is far more powerful than what we saw on Android. So who has such view here?
Yeah, mine does not look like that.
So Chris, you may have the Jive Classic, Jive Legacy version, whatever they call it. So I actually give you a pointer. If you go again on Apple Store, you can download the latest and greatest Jive application, and you can do far more things than interacting. You can even edit a document, rich text style. You can edit a document. You can mention a community that will notify the community members, that will drive traffic, give a pointer to this community. So you can do many more things with the iOS app. And the good news is that the Android app will have these same capabilities early March.
Excellent.
So let's be fully honest. I don't know yet if the follow capability will be available with this version early March. Definitely an item that we need to look deeper in. Like you see something, you see a discussion, you see a document, a blog that you really want to know more about, you want to follow it in your inbox. So right now, it is not supported. I'll have a look for March. So with these two steps, this improved version iOS and then the follow capability, would this mobile usage please you? Question for Doug.
Yes, yeah, increased capabilities on a mobile is one of my higher priorities. Otherwise than that, I've been able to ask my questions and get answers and download documents from my laptop just fine.
Cool, cool. Let's go back to Michelle. Michelle, you've been seeding and creating engagement in the product documentation public group that you have on BMC Communities. What is your feedback on how you interacted with the market?
Well, just in general, like especially if I'm going from the web view and I'm not caught up on issues about the mobile access, I found it was pretty good, and I'm glad that people have been participating in it, and some people are active. For me, I think some of the more active people tend to be people from the Remedy community who have already been interacting with in other areas. But it's good to have a forum where that is specifically what they're looking at, and I'm hoping that other people will pipe in when they have thoughts as well.
So just to make sure, is your statement that the people who interact the most come from the Remedy product background?
Yep.
Okay, we got also a lot of engagement from the Blade Logic server automation community
That's
users.
true. I have to look and see if there's been a lot of discussion on those areas. There's been a lot of postings from some IDD members from the Blade Logic community, but I'll have to see if those are the people who've been giving feedback. I know when we first had some just general questions and things, the people who responded were the people who were active in the Remedy community.
Understood. So just to give you insider tips, you may want to talk to Tom Bailey. Tom Bailey is in product management in the Blade Logic world and is going to do great stuff in this Blade Logic CLM and DevOps kind of products. He wants to launch a lot of programs, a lot of initiatives.
Great, thanks for the tip.
Hey. So who didn't complain? Who did not complain yet? Greg, you've been using communities for some time to blog post, to interact and give resources to people, to help people in pain. You actually called me on Google Hangout from your car about, I don't know, 2 years ago. And we talked about things that could help you better. So what's your current status?
I want to basically just do another tick mark for the, I don't know if collapsing the communities, but somehow making the content a little more transparent between them. So, we don't need to do multiple posts in 2 communities for something that could be useful for different areas like server and apps, being able to just have a click-through link or something. So, we aren't just populating with redundant information. Would be really nice, because I find that I'll have to post in several different places just to make sure, or I feel better that the exposure is going to be there. And so that would be helpful, unless this is something that can be done and I just don't know how to do it. It would be nice to be able to maybe pick what communities one post could be displayed in, if that's possible.
I have a question of something sort of related. When I've gotten something in multiple communities, I've done a post in one community, which I consider more the primary one, and then I will mention the other communities. I know it shows up there in the activity feed for that other community, but it doesn't show up under content. Are people getting notifications about that, and do you feel that people look primarily at the activity feed and would see it who are interested, or is it better to cross-post so it stays around in the content and not getting lost in the activity feed?
See, and that's a good point, because I know that it will show up in that feed, but if somebody misses it and does a search there, they may not find it, and that's the concern, because there could be something that's, could affect something across all those different areas, and if somebody saw it or heard it or were aware of it, they may not look in CMDB to find something, for server or whatnot, and it'd be nice if it was able to be kind of like a, dynamic cross post without having to do all the work.
So I really like the way you do. You post, Michelle, here at mentioning the secondary and third communities, so that you post in the main community only. Greg, when people search, it's actually multi-community. When people search, it's platform-wide, except if they restrict to the current community or group. So usually, it should not. If you search like CMDB, CI, reconciliation, and you search in BMC Control M, by default you search platform-wide, and you will find the same content than if you were searching in the Atrium CMDB community. Okay. So if you need the @mention of a secondary community notifies the users, which is what I do believe the case, it actually reaches out to the right people. So it's definitely the easiest way to deliver things.
And that they would have to follow the stream, as Michelle mentioned, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't, pick up that mention, correct?
Yeah. But when they will search, using the top right search field, it searches everything. Everything they have access to is included.
Okay.
So it's so then
Michelle first.
Sorry. So then the only place they're losing at this then is if their tendency is to not look at the activity stream, but click on the content and browse.
Yeah. Okay. Very good point. Clicking on content and browsing all content types or only blogs or only documents is a narrowed view on everything. The easiest search is searching. So if you search, you don't have to care whether it's a document, a blog, or an idea, or whatever. What you care about is the keywords associated to the content. And you may find a blog post from Greg and an idea posted by Chris and a discussion that LJ posted because he was willing to know more, and Doug helped him. With one single search.
I helped LJ.
Yeah, I said it publicly. And one single search in the search field, and you do that. If you go into gory details to search stuff, you restrict, you narrow down your search. So LJ, let's go back to you on the way you use communities. Do these
Matt,
I guess,
before you and LJ get going, I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me to this, but I do need to go to another meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so, gentlemen and lady, I appreciate you all. Sorry,
Doug, you take care.
See you all.
Bye, Doug. Bye.
Bye, Bear.
Bye. And really, to answer your question, Matt, as Michelle was saying, I actually look through my inbox, which is essentially my personalized activity stream, and I follow all the communities in my inbox. So when somebody posts something in one community and mentions another, if I'm not following the main community they post in, but I am following the community that they mention, I do see the post. And if it's something I'm interested in, I go look at it, type thing. So I virtually never browse any of the communities. Anytime I'm looking for something, I either look in my bookmarks because it's something I've bookmarked, or I just do the universal search. But I'm rarely looking at the content view of a particular community. So, like you said, Matt, I search or I get the mention in my inbox, but I don't very often browse.
I do sometimes use the content, a tab, and then I restrict to documents, because I know that the very, very specific things that I'm looking for is a document in that community. So if I know that, that's the user interface I use, because my business is about finding really, really specific stuff. But if I'm looking for, CR reconciliation, whatever, going in the search field and making this happen is the best way. So I love that, LJ. And I guess we have Jason Miller joining.
Hey, hello.
How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing terrific. So, just in case a couple of people looking at this Hangout Live or at the recording, or some people in this crowd today are not familiar with you, go ahead and introduce you and.
Jason Miller, active member on the communities, play moderator at times, moving some of the posts around and helping people find where they need to be to get the answers they're looking for. Primarily a remedy guy, and when it comes to term of BMC products, been doing that for 15 years or so, maybe 14.
All great job. So, Jason, we talked while you were still sleeping or taking care of family or something. We've been talking about many good and bad things and experience on the community. Jason, what about Engage 2015? Are you going to be there?
I'm planning on it.
Uh-huh.
I've got to submit my travel request, but since the pre-registration opened, I should be able to go get the approvals needed. It's good to do it early.
Good, and yeah, Dan Satowski was terrific in having the pre-registration up like early January.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
And you have all the, you have all the details on why it is valuable for you to be on this worldwide user event, and I believe it's $7.99.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so it's good to begin to start the conversations with management.
Oh yeah, I'm one of the fortunate ones who has the company pay, because I know a lot of people have to pay out of their pocket. So.
Ooh. So Jason, we've been covering a couple of stuff. One thing I'd like your feedback on is local user group, because I believe you are a member of the Bay Area Remedy user group. So what's happening there?
Not Bay Area. I'm a little bit south in
oh yeah,
San
you
Diego.
bet, San Diego. Shame on me.
Yeah. So unfortunately, our user group hasn't been around for quite some time. It's been years since we've had a meeting. We've had a few people who were leading the effort, and they've moved out of the area. Typically go find other jobs elsewhere, and so it's just kind of fallen apart. At one point, I said I was going to take on the role, but I just hadn't found time to coordinate it all. So we unfortunately don't really communicate much down here in Southern California.
Let's find a way to fix that. Do you still often interact with Kevin Key?
Not much. I don't know he's working with BMC products much. I know his position's changed some, and I don't see him online as much as I used to, so I'm not sure there.
Hey, a great guy too. So, yep. Because I don't want to spam you with questions, I will get, I don't know, LJ asking a tricky question to Jason on things happening or not happening on BMC Communities.
Oh my.
I don't know. I just made that up.
Are you ready?
Well, let's see.
Let me take a drink of coffee here.
Jason, tell me about your opinions on hidden communities and deletion of posts.
Ooh.
Ooh, we're airing the back end stuff here publicly.
Just your opinion.
I'm under bridge. You will not hear me anymore.
I think it's working fairly well. I think we've had some conversations, so you've probably already discussed. There's a back-end community for the moderators and people who kind of keep the communities running. And so instead of deleting a post, we try to move it to the back end. And I think that's working well. So we take it from public view where it's may not be appropriate, and then we can have some discussion around it, you know, offline. And there was one post that I had moved thinking it was spam, and the original poster said, no, I think this is relevant. And we had some dialogue, and it got put back out in the public area. So I think that part's actually working fairly well.
So just to set background, and that's a great question, ALG. Thanks for that. The moderators on BMC Communities include customers, partners, and BMC employees. And indeed, we have this back channel, secret group on BMC Communities, where all of us learn from and with each other. So what Jason described is a lovely way to work together for a bigger, better community. LJ, do you see issues in the way things are sometimes hidden or sometimes censored?
The only problem I seem to have with hiding is BMC internal stuff, and it's not just communities, but it's like knowledge base and that sort of thing as well. Because I can't tell you how many times over the years I get a knowledge base number from support or something like that, and I go look up the knowledge base article and I don't have access to it. And when I say, hey, why can't I see that? They go, oh, sorry, that's BMC internal. I know there is reasons for internal documentation, but fixes for problems, I don't see why those necessarily need to be internal only documents. BMC did a really phenomenal job in 2014 of finally opening up their documentation to Google search and making it so you don't have to log into Docs to actually be able to see the documentation. And that's all the documentation for all the tools. And that was a huge, huge criticism from the community for very many years about, what are you hiding? Why do you have to have a support contract in order to read the documentation? So that was a huge step forward for BMC in making their stuff public. I think they still have a little bit to go in relation to internal only knowledge articles and such, but that's really the only complaint I have regarding hidden content, because I'm not on the inside.
So and that's by the way, it's not BMC Communities content here. It's all the platforms, just to be specific. So indeed, Docs. Most of the documentation pages are now fully public, like indexed by Google and easy to reach. And without sharing any secret details, support friends are making a great job on, in the future, perhaps opening up a lot more the knowledge articles, the knowledge base that they maintain. So no detail, no scope, no timeline, no nothing. But I work with people with like Warren Cook, if you're familiar with him, and they are going this very direction because they want you to benefit far more from all these things. By the way, feedback that we had from, I can't remember who, in the APAC session, the APAC Hangout earlier today, is that he was seeing content on BMC Communities like a public knowledge base. Is that sometimes the way you see the communities? A public and crowdsourced knowledge base.
Yeah, communities is certainly a crowdsourced knowledge base. It's stuff that comes from our brain, from our experience that. Frankly, BMC doesn't necessarily have, or they haven't published if they do have it. So Communities is definitely a crowdsourced solution that seems to work pretty good.
That's good. So Jason, the floor is yours on any crazy idea you'd have to make interactions with the ecosystem better. Like, what would make you interact more with users in your product communities? What would make you interact more with users in other communities that you may learn from?
Time. Do you have a time machine? Well, I'm glad you asked, Matt. Let me
do a laundry list of all your ideas that I'm holding on.
I think one of them would be mobile, and I've shared my pain there on the Android platform, and I'm an Android guy, so that's been not ideal for me. Especially to that point of following different communities. With the Android app, it's fire hose. You know, you can see your inbox, everything, and I forget what the other option was. But there's really no good way for me to say, hey, I want to go look at CMDB today. What's going on there? And that's where I found when I was using the mobile app. I haven't used it for a while, but I had time to check in. You know, if I'm, you know, waiting for somebody because they're in the restroom, or you know, waiting to pay the bill at dinner. So, no, I'm not in the restroom. They are. But you know, whenever I had a free minute, I could look through. And so then that and following, that was the other thing where I would see an interesting conversation, but it was too much. I had a very reply I wanted to think out quite a bit, and I wasn't going to do it on mobile, and that was painful.
So
what you got?
I know there are really strong limitations in the Android app. I talked about the March release on BMC Communities, where the Android app will be far improved, the same user experience as the iOS app also. And we'll share more details in the next weeks. Here, if you want to see the latest interactions on the Atrium CMDB community, quick and easy. You search on the search button here. You search Atrium CMDB, it finds the community, you select the community, and displays all the latest interactions, like the recent activity widget. So for that use case, the app does it.
Okay, I don't remember that being there, so that's good to know.
I will test it live because that's not the way I use the community. So I want to be fully honest here.
Yeah.
HMDB.
Well, and I thought it was a BMC Communities thing because when I would switch over to the Jive community, I was able to browse by sub-community. So maybe that configuration has changed.
I searched Atrium CMDBs and I see people, content, and places.
Okay, yes.
That talk about BMC, talk about Atrium CMDB. And there, I cannot see that, I cannot show that because there are secret and sensitive stuff. But there, I can access the BMC Atrium CMDB public community here. I just tapped on it, and I can see the latest interactions.
Okay.
So I don't need to follow that in my inbox. I don't need another email notification. I go directly online and I look at Atrium CMDB community.
Very
good.
Did
we solve something here?
You did. I think I'll still wait till the next update, but.
So Brad, let's come back to you. Do you indeed use the mobile app? You're using your mobile phone right now for this Hangout?
I've never actually used the mobile app before, only because most of the time I'm accessing the group from work. I'm not very mobile at work. I'm usually stuck behind my desk or within the building, so I hadn't had much need for a mobile app at this point.
All right. When you need it, it will be here. It's actually called Jive on the. Are you Google or iOS?
Google.
Okay, good. So it's called Jive, and you'll go on communities.bmc.com, then username, password, and you're done. And it's it's like the way I interact on the other. Let me share my homepage. My homepage on my browser, on my phone here. So the way I interact with Twitter or LinkedIn or Jive here, exactly the same way. From my pocket in a couple of tabs, and then I can do Facebook listings or whatever. Quick and easy. So we talked about local user groups. We talked about mobile app, and I go deeper on what the March release will bring. Greg, you haven't talked about limitations that could be removed on the community?
Not sure what limitations encompasses, but I was going to raise it in my what I don't like question earlier. Just in creating some content, I don't know how to do it, but it just seems very cumbersome to create more complex content formatted, or adding things in easily. Even some of the HTML amendments that I use, don't always function as expected. So, I've been looking on the Jive software community for additional help, and I just don't see anything that can help us, create something that's really a lot more content rich.
Yeah.
Visually. I mean.
Give us an example here.
Just for the instance, on the Connect with Remedy, the 2015, to present some of that information. It's a simple table, but to change some of the colors, to change some of the clickable content, it was I had to use tables, and make them different sizes and things to make it semi-presentable. And in other types of software, you're able to have a little bit more control, a little easier. The UI is a little easier just to build it without having to go to the HTML level. I can be unique in what I want, but.
So LJ, Jason, do you have overall feedback on that?
Well, to add to that, it's also inconsistent. So depending on the type of document or whether you're posting a document or leaving a reply, you may be able to bold something in one place and not in the other. And just something as simple as just bolding is hit and miss. So yeah, I agree. It should be a little bit easier without having to dig into HTML. Where that's an option. I don't know that it's an option everywhere. And granted, in a reply, do you really need HTML? Yeah. Maybe sometimes, but yeah, I'm on board with him.
Okay, so we would need to work on specific use cases here. Obviously, it's not. I mean, it's wiki for normal people. It's not wiki for wiki experts kind of things.
Yeah.
Like you can collaborate on a document and have 10 people updating the document and adding tables and embedding a YouTube video and adding links to content on communities and external content. You can have all that. It's not clever. There is no clever JavaScript behind that or something. It's WYSIWYG kind of things. So yeah, we'll work on more details here together. I'm looking at a couple of posts you've done recently, and they obviously look good. The Connect with Remedy programs, they all look good. So okay, let's keep that as an item.
Thank you.
Jason, LJ, by the way, do you still have time? Like we still have 15 minutes or so. Are you happy with staying with us?
Absolutely.
I've got a few more.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so Jason, I cannot read your lower third. I'm not
too long?
a Remedy guy. I.
Oh, does it cut off? I just play one on TV.
Okay.
I wish it let me know. Speaking of UI, I wish it would let me know it was cutting it off, though, because as far as I can tell, it works.
Yeah, for me, it says, I'm not a real Remedy guy. Then,
Yeah, it sends it to the next line, and there's no white down there for us to see what it says.
Gotcha. Maybe I need to make it a lower half.
So, in the meantime, I was looking at the latest post from Greg. Greg posts a lot in BMC Remedy, in ADDM. Hey, oh yeah, Greg, you've been doing the Connect with Remedy ADDM 10.1 webinar.
Yeah, that was our December Connect with Remedy program, and that was the 10.1. What's new? It was a pretty popular attended topic, which was nice.
And that's way cool. I mean, what happened here on ADDM with Raphael and with Chris, they had the beta program. Then people definitely played and sent feedback on the feature. Then they, when they were ready to launch, they flagged all the ideas that make sense that when the scope was implemented. And then there was this blog post, and then your blog post 1 or 2 weeks later with the webinar to enable everybody on ADDM 10.1, the new release. That's awesome.
Yeah, we also this month, actually next week, there's a Smart IT 1.0 SB1. So kind of similar concept. We have a product marketing manager, John Hall, that's going to go over some of the SP1 improvements, and also just the other aspects that people have problems with, install and as well as extending. So we're trying to kind of get in lockstep to really keep a nice even flow.
Excellent, excellent. We've talked several times, I mean, you and LJ at least, about the taxonomy of the remedy set of communities. So, you know that, have you guys talked with Peter Adams about the way he wants to simplify the BMC remedy set of communities?
Not specifically. You know, we've had discussions around communities, but not something is zoomed out, if you will.
Okay. And what about you,
Sounds like
Jason?
a good idea.
What about you, Jason and LJ?
Well, I remember a discussion that I believe Jason participated in.
Yep.
I forget what group it was in. It might have been in the community collab, but it was discussion of how we felt the community should be laid out. Should the service desk express be in the same category as under the BMC remedy, all that sort of stuff, and we kind of hashed that out, and I thought we came to some sort of consensus probably a couple months ago, but I really don't remember.
Okay, so
if anyone's
not sharing. Tentatively in the future, Peter Adams, working with Michelle McFadden and the team, want to simplify the remedy ITSM set of communities. So my current understanding is that they want to have remedy ITSM for all the products, so that people who want to talk about the processes from incident management and problem management and how the user interface looks for SRM and products like that, they can have all this product discussion in this BMC remedy or remedy ITSM community. So all the children, asset, service desk, SRM, whatever, would be merged into the parent BMC remedy community. SLM would move there too. SLM is a product that is part of the ITSM suite, so they would move that too, so that it's simple. Instead of, I don't know, like 5 communities or 6, there would be only one. The current status, I guess, is that they would keep AR system as a technology-focused community, so that people who want to talk about workflow, want to talk about mid-tier, want to talk about, these things can continue there. And Remedy on Demand would also be his own community, because it's not about features. Features should go directly in the Remedy ITSM community. It's about the operations of having a Remedy hosted on the cloud within BMC. So that's the current overall structure they were planning to have. Does it make sense for you guys?
The only problem with that sort of structure is that people are still going to get confused as to which one they should post in, because they're going to post a technological question within the ITSM community because they run ITSM. That's something that's really difficult. I mean, you have to educate your users before they post, and it's hard to have an educated user base when they're coming for help. It's give them a half an hour training course on how to post properly isn't extremely efficient. So there's problems with every configuration,
Yeah.
but it can certainly be simplified from where it is today into the model that you just described, and make the technology a parent of the applications type thing, as opposed to splitting it into two separate parents as it is right now. So I think that the realignment will help. There'll still just be ongoing problems with people posting the wrong type of question in the wrong type of forum.
So tell me, you and Jason, tell me if you see a lot of people indeed posting technology in the apps or apps within the technology community. Do you see that a lot?
Well, I personally do everything in my inbox, and 9 times out of 10, I don't pay attention to what community it is the post is coming in on. I've seen several posts over the last couple of months where somebody posts a remedy question, and I respond to the remedy question, and then half an hour later I see Jason move it from the social community into the BMC remedy community. And that's just a byproduct of me not paying attention to all the details of what's in front of me.
That's okay. That's cool. That's teamwork, by the way. That is cool. Yeah. You know the thing about incident management and problem management, like you fix his problem by answering his question. You fix his problem, and then Jason not only moves this discussion in the proper community, but it will also educate the user that, hey, for remedy discussion, please don't post in the social community, but in the remedy community. So that's actually a wonderful way, and I cannot think about a better way to educate new members. Like they have an issue, they post somewhere. That's fair. And by the way, sometimes they do not create a discussion. They create a blog where they can. They make an update status. Well, no big deal. No big deal. The shares have a pain. We'll help them answering and educating them on how to best interact in the future. So Jason, you moderate a lot of things. Do you often see posts that need to be moved from technical AR system to remedy, ITSM, the app, the product?
Not a whole lot. I don't spend as much time, probably because they are so segmented, the different remedy communities. I don't spend a whole lot of time actually browsing through them. So I catch the obvious ones like LJ mentioned if it was posted to social. Inside the remedy specifically, I don't think so. And a lot of times the line is blurred between is it app or is it AR system. So okay, I might see a post and go, really, this is a little bit better in another community, but it's not exactly wrong. So and
I think it's going to be an 80-20 kind of rule and trade-off. Like, okay, by having a technical and a product community and an ITSM product community, we will serve the 80% of the user personas. Some of them are deeply interested in Apache and technical things. Others are deeply interested in approval cycles for change, or entitlement in SRM. And posting that question to an error system guy would be like, that is noise.
Yeah, but I think the proposed changes, it's a pretty good compromise. It's going to flatten it up quite a bit, but still leave some areas to be a little more granular. But for the most part, the AR system people are interested in ITSM, not completely. I understand there's some custom people out there, but there's enough overlap where it's not terrible. It makes sense. It's not like you've got Android people posting in the iOS forum. That's just crazy talk.
Yeah, no wall. No wall.
So I think it works where we're heading with those communities in particular.
Okay, cool.
I was just gonna say, you touched on the remedy on demand. I think that's been a little bit of a tricky one in the past, where people, if I'm a remedy on demand customer and I want to know about a change approval cycle, I go to remedy demand because that's what I'm familiar with. But that's where the moderators come in, and we typically kind of catch that thing, and we'll
and setting expectations, like in the description or whatever at the top of the community, of each community, telling them, okay, if it's remedy on demand, for example, if it's hosting related, that's where to place your discussion. If it's ITSM process related, if it's I don't know, workflow related, if it makes sense, then go to this other community.
Yeah, and even then, there's room for the line to be blurred. So say if I'm a remedy on demand customer and I want to integrate AR system into some kind of third-party notification engine. Well, there's policies because it's remedy on demand, but there's technology. Where do you put it? Well,
Yeah, and that's why we need to be really flexible. No stumble on things.
Exactly.
I've got a question for you. LJ, you've recently helped somebody who was saying, okay, my contract will be over in 1 month or so. I'm in the Denver area, I believe. Any job for me there? Do you remember something like that?
Yes.
So, did it work out? Because I obviously did not follow the discussion eventually.
I didn't follow up either. It was just a simple discussion on the communities, and he was asking some questions, and we were talking about posting his resume on communities as a possible help to get him where he needed to go. And I think it was Buckley at the time was looking for new developers, so pointed him there. But the job boards do a pretty good job. Dice and Monster and such, they do a pretty good job of being search engines for where to find jobs. So I never followed up with him to find out if he got that one.
And that's fine. No stalking, right? Helping when we feel the need, but no stalking. LJ Jason, you are bright minds. You were the first to think about the value of ideation, and we should know we have room to improve here on communication about ideas, on the execution, perhaps on ideas sometimes. And that the whole team is working on that with CCO team, Paul Avenant, Neil Greathead, Mike Sesko, Alan Shaw, all these guys. With Jim Wheeler in product management, so there are things going on. What else? What else could happen in the communities that will serve your needs? What new program? What new engagement topics could happen in the community?
Well, platform-wise, so like the Jive platform, I've already submitted the ideas, so you already know. It's working well, I think, and me, I guess you'd consider me a power user. There's the nice little touches that would make it just that more efficient, and so I have submitted ideas on some of those things. Movement seems kind of slow, so I'm looking forward to the next upgrade coming up that you mentioned. But I think in all it's working well. There's not that I could think of other. Mobile's probably my biggest sore spot, and that seems to be mostly for Android people. But it's working well. There's just little tweaks that would make it better.
Understood.
And I'm in the same boat. We've had various problems over time, and a lot of those problems have been fixed. And as I said earlier, communities is running pretty smooth, and I have stopped using mobile for the most part for the various reasons associated with it. And we'll try it again and see if I can reintegrate that into my habits when the upgrade comes in a couple of months. But beyond that, I sit at my computer, 8 hours a day to do my remedy development work, and communities is always open. So,
sounds good. I was actually hinting at other things. The beta programs that we have, it's orchestrated by May Bakken. This is something really unique on the market, to have a vendor interacting in such a transparent manner about beta programs. So this is actually unique and and you can enjoy that anytime you're involved. Is there any other big business process where you would see interaction with the ecosystem helping you do your job better, faster, quicker?
Not for me. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I can't really think of anything at the moment. You know, especially there's been a much larger presence of BMCers over the last year, maybe two, where we're seeing replies from experts internally, whereas, you know, when I first started on the communities, it was really only more or less customers. There were some active BMC employees, but really, they've really jumped in and are pretty active. So that's been huge, just getting that inside knowledge. Beyond that, I think it's working, you know, business-wise well. Like you mentioned, the betas, that is working very well. It's really neat. You know, what would have probably been an email between a beta customer and, you know, an inside technical resource, and nobody ever would have seen that in the past. So where now if somebody posts, hey, I'm having this problem on Windows R2 against whatever database, we all get to see that and learn from it. So that's been huge.
Okay, cool. Last item we're working on behind the scene is kind of single sign-on, so that when you log in once in the morning on BMC Communities, you also have this same login, this same session for your interaction on docs.bmc.com, for your interactions on support website. Will that change your life?
I'm thinking it'll probably, I almost want to say impact my life negatively. The community login is currently cookie-based, and I have to log in maybe once a month on communities. I'll refresh my page, and it'll ask me to log in, and I have to log in. And I have no problems with that. When they went to making docs public, every time I go to docs, I have to log in. And that's not to say that I have to log in multiple times a day. It's just to say that I don't use docs extremely often. I use it, you know, a couple times a week sometimes. And every time I go to it, I have to log in. And so if communities goes to a single sign-on where once I'm signed on to communities, I'm also signed on to docs, and I'm also signed on to support and such. Due to the fact that I'm in communities all day, every day, I might actually find that to be somewhat of a pleasant change, because docs will no longer ask me to log in. But I will then arguably have to log into communities every day, which is not a hardship. It's just not something I currently have to do.
Don't worry, I'm here to serve you. I definitely will. You know, I obviously have that as a design spec. What about you, Jason?
I'm pretty much right there with LJ. You know, I don't log into communities very often. It remembers me. The other sites, typically when I hit them, it does prompt for the login. So as long as I don't have to log in more frequently in communities, and if the other logins follow because I am logged into communities, that's a win. That'd be nice. And I know the documentation in particular has been opened up publicly, so much of that doesn't require a login anymore. However, to get the full features like your notifications if you're watching, or to get to the beta documentation, you have to log in. So I find I'm still logging in even though you know, much of it is open now.
Okay, well, wonderful feedback. Well, with that, we're actually over time. Thanks a lot for your interactions today. Anything specific to conclude this talk today?
I had fun, Matt. Thanks for hosting.
Thank you for your user activity and power user activity on BMC Communities.
Talk to you next time, Matt.
Welcome.
Take care.
See you, LJ.
See ya.